Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. Come with us on our journey. So today we're making a mess, knocking shit off the wall. So today I am doing a palette tag. I was tagged by several of my YouTube beauties here, and it's a 13 question palette tag. I don't know who originated it, but whoever did, they get the credit. But I was tagged by Becca's Beauty and Jessica Vargas. Those two tagged me to do this. So I have 13 questions about my palette collection. So yeah, that is what we're gonna go over today. So the first one is your newest palette, which I literally received a couple hours ago. It's the e.l.f. J Kissa palette. Those are the colors in it. It is a rescue eyeshadow palette in collab with J Kissa here on YouTube, and the proceeds are going to a local dog shelter, pit bull shelter that she supports. So that was my newest palette. My oldest palette was this. It was by Color Story. And this was one of the very first palettes I got. As you can see, there's some use in them. But I'm going to tell you something. This $3 palette was worth it. I think I paid like $3 for it, $4 for it. Still, gorgeous palette. The next is your most expensive palette. Well, that would be, hold on, let's not knock everything over. My Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. This was a gift from my husband when it came out. This is what this palette looks like. Her formula is top notch. I really love this palette. I don't use it a lot, but I do think her palettes are worth the penny. The most affordable palette I have would be this one. $1 from Dollar Tree. It's a super pretty palette. Super pigmented. Can't really beat it for $1, right? $1. And I love these little four things. I have it in purple and black, and I have a couple colors along with the e.l.f. ones that are $2.99, and I love them. Love them, love them, love them. My everyday palette, I would have to say, this is going to surprise a bunch of you, but this is my everyday palette. I go to this palette whenever I'm going somewhere and I'm not filming. I was gifted this by Mona, About Face with Mona, for a giveaway that I won, and this came from Amazon, and it is the most amazing palette. I use it all the time. I use it all the time. So my most colorful palette, I have a lot. So I would say this is one of them, for sure. My NYX Ultimate Shadow palette. Yeah, this palette right here is just pretty, very pretty. It's also beginner friendly because you can build it up, which is always a great thing. I like palettes that are beginner friendly because people will get discouraged if they go in with a palette and it don't blend, or they can't get the pigment. Excuse my son in the background, he's playing his video games. The next one would be the smallest palette, and that would be this. It is a little e.l.f. palette. Would be this little e.l.f. palette that I got. Just a little duo. And this shade right here is great for blush as well. So yeah, and then I got this today free in my little e.l.f. haul. It's just 3 little shades. So those are my smallest palettes. Biggest palette. I have a couple of the 39 pan palettes from Morphe. So those would be my biggest. This is my favorite of them though. The 39S Gem palette. That would be one of my biggest palettes, and I absolutely love that palette. The eye toppers in the center are gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Palette with the most memory. That one I'd have to think about. So we'll come back to that one at the end. Palette worth the hype. Tati Beauty. This palette is stunning. It's everything you could possibly need. It is the best glitters on the market. Just totally was worth the hype. Totally worth the 48 bucks. Totally worth sitting there online stressing out trying to get it. Worth it. I can't wait to see what she's coming out with next. Not worth the hype. I'm going to get so much hate for this, and I understand. I know. I know. I know. The cremated palette. It's just not worth the hype. I have a dupe video up. I'm sure you've already watched. And yeah, that's just my opinion. Is it beautiful? Absolutely. Is the pigment and quality there? Absolutely. Is it worth the hype? Not in my opinion. Go ahead, put the thumbs down, leave the hate. No problem. My favorite palette and favorite brand is C Color Cosmetics, which everybody should already know. And it's this palette, the Cherry palette. For one, it smells delicious. For two, this is worth every penny. Every penny. And I use it often, as you could tell. I got dips and divots, and it's messy. Love, 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 love this palette. So I would have to say my palette with the memory is this one, because I remember when my husband let me order it and it was in stock, and everybody was like, it's not in stock, it's not in stock, and I found it in stock. So, and that is also one of my most colorful palettes. That one's also one of the worth the hype palettes. So that is definitely one of my favorite palettes. And the last one is my most used palette. Now, this was one of the palettes I bought when I first started my channel, when Shop Hush was around. They were fantastic. I don't know how or why they went out of business, because they were amazing. And this was one of the palettes, which I think you can still get this brand on certain websites. I believe Shop Charisse has it. AliExpress. There's a few companies that have this, and a palette like this came in a box not too long ago. But this is the palette, and as you can tell, I've got lots of dips, lots of dents, and pan, which for me, you know, with my palette collection, that's pretty impressive. But this palette is one of my very first ones, and I still love it. It's still super pigmented. It still performs perfectly. And next time I do see it on a site, I will probably pick it up, so I have another one. It's just a beautiful, beautiful palette. The mattes are pigmented. The shimmers are perfect. This brown is the best corner builder It's not swatching very good, but I'm telling you, this palette is amazing. I've used it many, many times. Usually when I do a look to not go anywhere, just, you know, in the house, or if me and my husband are running to the store, I'll reach for that palette. It is one of my favorites. Super pigmented and super pretty. So those are the palettes for the palette tag. Now there's going to be a brand that I'd like to talk about a little bit that hasn't been in the hype in a while, but her channel here on YouTube is My Real California Life, and her brand is Classy Cake Cosmetics, and this is the palette that I ordered from her. And I'm going to tell you, she came out with some new shades. This palette is unreal. Look at that. One swipe. One swipe. One swipe. See that? Let's do a green. This palette is just amazing. I haven't used it in a while on my channel, but I really, really would like you to go over, visit her channel, check out her website. She has a Instagram also where she shows all her new stuff that she's coming out with. Again, it's Classy Cakes Cosmetics, and her channel on here is My Real California Life. She makes everything herself at home, and she comes up with some of the most pigmented, beautiful duochromes you'll ever see. So go check her out. Well, that wraps up my palette tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. I am really, really trying to figure out what to do with my channel, so if you have any suggestions, put them down in the comment section. They would be greatly appreciated. And until next time, ladies and gents, let's build each other up, be proud of who you are, and always stay beautiful. Much love.